what he achieved, if he could achieve what he achieved in today's environment, you would recognize how great he was, along with the others that he played with. It's hard to compare.
Of course.
I don't think the financial rewards were anywhere near the level of financial rewards of today's date, and the level of abuse and discrimination in the 60s and 70s was tremendous.
Then he bowled him. A full pitch, played right across it and over it, and closes out. Bowled with a new ball, which didn't pitch.
I'm here with Chris Decaires. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
We are on the eve of the unveiling of the statue for Sir Charles Griffith. You are chairman of the Cricket Icons Committee. How has that exercise been going?
It's gone very well. It's taken about 2.5 years, and we've had tremendous support from private individuals and companies who have helped to finance it, and the government through COMI, who have facilitated the erection on their ground, as well as the BCA, who have not only sponsored the unveiling ceremony, but have been very helpful in organising all the cricketing aspects.
Well, as a boy growing up, Chris, you would have seen Sir Charles Griffith, Sir Wes Hall. These young men were together forming a combination that was very formidable in international cricket. But how inspirational has Sir Charles been in your general interactions with him? And most importantly, how deserving you believe Sir Charles Griffith is with the unveiling of the statue?
Sir Charles and Sir Wes and Sir Gary played in the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
And they created the foundation for several decades of West Indies teams that played at not only world-class level, they were dominant at the world-class level. And I remember as studying in London, seeing them on television at a slightly later stage, the likes of Desmond and Gordon and so on, and the pride that it would have given all West Indians, but particularly those in the diaspora that were away, and seeing the West Indies perform at an international level, which was the best in the world. I think he could not have not been affected by it. I think everybody would have seen that was world class, and we could do it. Something we could probably do with at this stage of our lives, in terms of certainly cricketing and other aspects,
Well, we're approaching the unveiling on March 25th of this year. How deserving is Sir Charles Griffith of this honour?
What he achieved, if he could achieve what he achieved in today's environment, you would recognize how great he was, along with the others that he played with. It's hard to compare.
Of course.
I don't think the financial rewards were anywhere near the level of financial rewards of today's date, and the level of abuse and discrimination in the 60s and 70s was tremendous. So to have played against those odds I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's an inspiration, and hopefully the statue will provide that physical benchmark that people can look at it and say, well, why are we celebrating this? To really understand what was achieved by Sir Charles and his team back in the 60s and early 70s.
You're the sculptor for one of the childhood heroes of many who lived in the 1960s in Sir Charles Griffith. I would like to know what type of effort goes into doing a sculpt of this type of nature.
I would say a tremendous amount of effort, as you would appreciate, because what you're trying to do, you're trying to capture, as you said, the legacy and the legend of a cricketer as the caliber of Sir Charles. So the first thing you have to do is start with research. You have to understand who Sir Charles was, not only in terms of a bowler, but as a person. And the fortunate thing for me is I have access to Sir Charles because he's still alive. And that was one of the best parts of this process, being able to talk to the man himself, to understand what he went through to become who he became, and then try to capture that in a sculpture, with his guidance, of course, because he was there to, all along the process, to tell me, yes, you're going right, or no, you're going wrong. And so the whole thing was just a I can't really, I don't even have words for it, but I would just say it's an amazing experience.
Jason Hope, your name is one as an artist that some of us will know, but you also had a unique opportunity to be the person who did the statue for Sir Wesley Hall. And both Sir Wesley Hall and Sir Charles Griffith form a formidable fast bowling duo for the West Indies. Can you tell me how long a process takes for something like that? Building a statue for Sir Wesley Hall, and as we will unveil very shortly, Sir Charles Griffith?
Normally it takes around 2 years. And as I said, you start with a lot of research. We have meetings, there's a West Hall committee, and the committee, we discuss like what we're going to do, what we're trying to achieve. We obviously, again, because we have access in the case of Sir West and Sir Charles, to understand their vision and how they want to capture their legacy and how they want it represented. So we start there, and it usually starts with one photo. And in the case of Sir West, he had one photo. And in the case of Sir Charles, he had one photo as well. And then we work from there. And that is the most challenging part of the exercise, because I have to take the photo, which is a two-dimensional medium, and translate it into a three-dimensional medium. So you understand that cameras distort. So I have to be able to calculate like the amount of distortion. I have to understand where the cameraman was positioned when he was taking the shot, so I would be able to reverse engineer the position. Obviously, I watch videos of Sir Charles bowling, etc., but that takes place so fast. Even when I slow down the YouTube videos, you still miss, like you're going like that, you still miss a lot. So there was a lot of extrapolation, but again, I had people around me, like Sir Charles himself, Sir West, Sir Gertrude Sobers, Sir Desmond Haynes, Calvin Hope. So I had a team of experts guiding me along the way, especially myself being a novice with regards to cricket. I go as far as a fan in terms of my expertise. So I had the opportunity then to work with them very closely. So you would imagine that takes a while to get it right.
After the completion of the sculpture and the actual statue, we had to place it here at Kensington Oval. You're the man who's supervising the project. How difficult was that process, placing the Sir Charles Griffith statue in this current location?
To be honest, the placing it wasn't difficult at all, because that's what we do. We're construction workers and we're familiar with this kind of stuff. But to having the opportunity to place a guy like Sir Charles Griffith give me great pleasure.
The project, when did it begin? And knowing that we're doing the unveiling in a couple of weeks' time, how long in terms of the steps and all these other infrastructural works would it have taken, and when did it start?
We started this project on the 29th of January. We started with the demolition. Because of how the place is structured, we had to be very careful with the demolition. So that took about 1 week to do all the demolition and clear the stuff. And then we started the process. Within 2 weeks' time, we had also put down the base and ready for Charles, which we were able to place like Thursday on Thursday.
Kensington Oval is really a showpiece, particularly for locals and tourists alike. And I want to say that you have written your name on history's page by being part of a very important process. And I want to wish you and your company all the very best.
Well, thank you. We feel real honored to be a part of this unveiling of Sir Charles, and we feel really, really good. And we wish all the best and moving forward to Griffith and the whole crew.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.